On the edge of the galaxy, there was a cold, quiet space station that no ship ever stopped at. No aliens visited. No trade happened. It was called Station 9, a place where secrets were buried and forgotten. Deep inside this station lived a girl named Zara, but no one ever called her by name. They called her the Untouchable. Zara looked different from other aliens. Her skin was smooth, dark like black glass, and it glowed faintly at night. But it wasn't her beauty that made others stay away. It was her curse. Anyone who touched her bare skin would burn so badly that even healing pods couldn't save them. Some called it a defense system. Others whispered it was dark magic. No one really knew. And no one wanted to find out. So Zara lived alone. Station fed her through auto machines. Her room was locked from the outside. She had no windows, no visitors. Just a voice on a speaker every week that said, "Still alive?" She would answer yes. Then silence again. She had been like this since she was a child. She didn't remember her parents. Didn't remember who cursed her. She only remembered the fear in people's eyes. The way doctors stepped back. The way guards used metal sticks to move her as if she were a dangerous beast. Over time she stopped talking. She stopped crying. And most of all, she stopped hoping. Until the crash. It happened on a rainy night in space. Solar rain. The kind that glows like fire across the black sky. A small human ship, damaged and spinning, hit the edge of Station 9. Sirens blared. For a moment, then went silent. Security bots didn't move. The station was old, broken, and forgotten. It had no one to report to, but Zara heard it. For the first time in years, she heard something new. A crash, a rumble, something alive. She stood by her door, heart racing. Her long fingers pressed against the cold wall. Could it be a rescue, a trick, a prisoner like her? She didn't know, but she waited. Hours passed, nothing. Then quietly, the lock on her door clicked. Zara froze. The door opened slightly. Not wide, just enough for someone to peek in. And then she saw him, a human. Tall, injured, with a torn spacesuit. His face was pale, sweaty, but his eyes were open wide, curious, not afraid. He looked at her, and for a moment, didn't move. Zara stepped back into the shadows. "Go away," she said, her voice hoarse from years of silence. But the human didn't go. He looked at the room, then at her again. "Are you real?" he asked softly. "No one is allowed here," she said. "It's dangerous." He smiled. Weakly, "Yeah, I figured that out when my ship exploded." She saw him lean against the doorframe. He was weak, bleeding, shaking. He was going to fall. "Don't come closer," she warned. "You'll die." But he didn't care. He slid down the wall, sitting just inside the door, far from her, but close enough that she could hear him breathe. "I just need to rest," he mumbled. "I'll leave." In a minute, Zara stared at him, confused. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't calling her a monster. He didn't look angry or scared. Just tired. And cold. She looked at the food unit near her. It had a second pack unused. Slowly she picked it up, walked close to the doorway, and placed it down, then stepped back quickly. He blinked. "Is that for me?" She nodded once. "Thanks," he sighed, and picked it up without fear. "Namzeli, by the way." "Ship mechanic, bad luck pilot." She didn't answer. Not yet, but as he ate, something strange happened inside Zara's chest. A soft warmth. A small spark. It wasn't love. Not yet, but it was the first time. Someone had looked at her like she was real, not cursed. Not dangerous, just a girl. And in that quiet, broken space station, something inside Zara slowly began to wake up. A small, sleeping hope. And that changed everything. Zara didn't sleep that night. She sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the half-open door. For years, it had been locked tight. Cold, unmoving. Now it stood slightly ajar, letting in a different kind of air, human air. And it carried the scent of something unfamiliar, oil, burnt wires, and something warmer. Him. The human called Ely, she, had only said a few words to him, but they had shaken something deep inside her. Not fear, not danger. Something stranger, attention. He looked at her as if she mattered. In the morning, the door was still open. Cautiously Zara stepped toward it. Just past the frame, she saw him. Eli lay slumped on the floor, still breathing, but barely. His head rested against the metal wall, a trail of blood crusting on his forehead. His chest rose and fell unevenly. His hand still held the empty food pack she had given him. For a second, she thought he might be dead. Her hand twitched. She wanted to reach out, to check his pulse like she'd seen medics do long ago, but she pulled back. She couldn't touch Dot. If she touched him, he would burn. Just like the others, Zara bit her lip and turned away, running to the old service panel in her room. She tapped the controls. They were dusty, most offline, but one thing still worked: the station's repair room. She sent a command. A small cleaning drone whirred to life in the hallway and floated toward Eli. She watched from behind the wall. The drone sprayed antiseptic foam, cleaned his wound, and beeped as it scanned his suit. Eli groaned, waking slowly. His eyes opened, and the first thing he saw was her. Zara froze. He blinked, smiled faintly. "Still here," he whispered. She didn't answer. "You saved me again, didn't you?" he said, struggling to sit up. "Thank you," Zara stared. "Why aren't you afraid?" she asked. Eli looked confused. "Afraid of what?" "Me," she said. "I'm cursed. Everyone runs. No one stays." Eli tilted his head. "You gave me food. You saved my life. That doesn't sound like a curse to me." She stepped back, keeping distance. "If you touch me, you'll burn. My skin, my body, it kills anyone who comes close. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm alone." Eli was quiet. Then slowly, he looked at his glove. "May I try something?" "No," she said quickly. "Don't." But he was already digging into a pocket on his suit. He pulled out a small tool, a human tech item used for wiring repairs. It had a mini insulator field like a soft energy shield. He clipped it onto his glove, adjusting it carefully. "This glove is made to handle high-voltage wires," he said. "If it can protect me from electric plasma, maybe it can protect me from you." Zara stared, eyes wide. "It won't work." "Maybe," he replied, "but I want to try." He stood slowly, hand raised, not reaching for her, but letting her see it clearly. "You can say no, but if you let me ... I want to shake your hand." Zara's heart pounded. No one had ever said that before. No one had ever asked. She could barely speak. Her voice cracked. "Why?" "Because," he said, "you saved me, and people who save lives deserve to be seen." She didn't move. For a full minute she just stood there. Then, with trembling hands, she stepped forward, one slow step, then another, until only 1 meter separated them. "I'll lift my hand," she said, "but if your glove fails, you'll die." Eli nodded. "Then let's hope it doesn't fail." She raised her hand. Slowly, so slowly, he reached forward, and then ... their hands touched. A sharp pulse ran through her skin. Light shimmered around his glove. For a moment, she thought, it was burning. She almost pulled away, but then nothing happened. No screams, no fire, no pain. He was still standing, still holding her hand. Zara's mouth opened in shock. Eli smiled. "Feels warm." Zara's throat tightened. A small tear slipped down her cheek. "You single quotes read ... not afraid." "I am," Eli said, "but not of you." Zara let out a shaky breath. For the first time in her life, someone had touched her and lived, and that touch, though small, broke years of silence, fear, and loneliness. Zara had never felt anything like it. Not the pressure of skin, Not the warmth of a hand. Not the calm that came when someone touched her and didn't scream. She sat quietly in the corner of her room, staring at her hand. It still tingled where Eli had touched it. His glove had worked. Somehow he had touched her, and he was still alive. She had spent her life believing she was cursed. That anyone who came close would suffer. That her very being was a weapon. But Eli? He didn't just survive, he smiled. And now he was back in the hallway again, sitting on the floor with wires, gadgets, and small pieces of his ships broken. Tech spread out in front of him like puzzle pieces. "What are you doing?" Zara asked, voice barely above a whisper. Eli looked up and grinned. "Building you gloves," she blinked. "Me? You said no one ever touched you, right?" He said, "Maybe it's time you get to touch someone too." Zara's heart skipped. "Are you saying?" She started, unsure how to finish. "I'm saying," Eli replied, adjusting a tiny energy core, "we find a way around the curse. You wore the pain alone too long. Let's hack your fate." Zara stared at him. He wasn't like the scientists. They only wanted to test her. He wasn't like the guards. They only wanted her locked away. He wanted to help her. Together, they began the experiment. Eli explained every tool, every step. Zara listened carefully, watching as he attached an insulated membrane to a set of metal-plated gloves. The energy from the glove would react with her body heat, and the coating would stop the energy field from reaching others. That was the theory, at least. It might not work, Eli admitted, holding up the half-finished glove. But if it does, you'll finally be able to hold something, anything, a cup, a book, a person. Zara swallowed hard. "Even you?" Eli smiled. "Especially." She helped him, handing him parts using a cloth, careful not to let her bare fingers touch anything metal. It took them hours. Time passed strangely. For the first time, Zara forgot she was locked in a prison. She laughed once. It surprised them both. Finally, the gloves were ready. They looked clunky, mismatched, and stitched with wires. But they were hers. Eli handed them to her. "Ready?" Zara hesitated. "What if it fails?" She asked, "What if I burn you anyway?" "Then I die looking like a genius in failure," Eli joked. "But I don't think that'll happen." Slowly, Zara slipped on the gloves. They were cold, heavy. The tech hummed against her skin, then warmed. Eli raised his hand again. "Touch me." She moved slowly. Her hand met his. This time she could feel something. Not fire, not death. She felt the texture of his glove, the pressure of his grip, the softness of his fingers through the material. She gasped. "I felt you," she whispered. Eli's eyes softened. "And I felt you back." Zara looked down at their joined hands, her breath shaking. "It doesn't hurt. It's not perfect," Eli said, "but it's yours." Tears formed in her eyes, but she wiped them quickly. "Thank you." But the moment didn't last. Suddenly, alarms blared deep within the station. Red lights flashed. The walls trembled. Zara stood up. "What's happening?" Eli's face turned serious. He grabbed his scanner. "Something's coming. A ship, military class. Not mine, not friendly." Zara's face paled. "They found me." "Who?" Eli asked. "The ones who put me here," she whispered. "They never wanted me free. They'll destroy everything to make sure I stay forgotten." Eli grabbed her arm. "Then we stop them." Zara stared. "You'll fight them?" "I didn't come this far to run now," he said. "You're not a curse, Zara. You're someone worth protecting." And just like that, the gloves weren't the only thing shielding her. For the first time in her life, someone stood between her and the storm. The emergency lights bathed the hallway in blood-red color. Warning sirens echoed like distant screams. Through the cold metal walls of Station 9, Zara stood frozen, her hands shaking inside the gloves Eli had just made for her. Her chest rose and fell quickly, and her eyes stared into the dark because she knew who was coming. Eli tightened the straps of his utility belt, his small blaster holstered at his side. He looked calm, but Zara saw the tension in his shoulders. "Zara," he asked, "who exactly are they?" She didn't answer at first. Her lips trembled. A deep memory stirred one she had buried for so long, she hoped it had died. "Zara?" Eli asked again, stepping closer. She looked at him finally. Her voice was low. "You're about to know the truth, Eli, and you might hate me for it." "I won't," he said. She turned and walked toward the old elevator shaft. "Come with me." They descended to the lower level, a place no one had entered in years. Zara used her access code, one only she remembered. The door groaned open, revealing a hidden lab. Dust hung in the air like a ghost. Inside, glowing tanks lined the walls. Screens blinked weakly. In the center of the room stood a sealed chamber. It held a recording device. Zara pressed a button. A hologram flickered to life. A voice spoke. "Subject 9A. Bioweapon test phase. Codename, Zara." Eli's breath caught. The hologram showed her as a child small. Scared, wires attached to her arms, glowing symbols carved into her skin. Alien scientists in white armor stood around her. "She's not stable," one said in the recording. "But the energy output exceeds expectations." "She'd be perfect for infiltration and destruction," another replied. "Touch-based kill mechanism, untraceable, silent." Then the recording ended. Zara turned to Eli. "They didn't curse me, Eli. They built me." He couldn't speak. "I was born normal," she said, her voice hollow. "But they changed me, injected me, rewrote my DNA. I was a test. A tool, a weapon." She stepped back. "That's why no one touches me. Not because I'm cursed, because I was designed to kill on contact." Ayla looked at her. "And you never hurt anyone?" "Never," she said quickly. "When I found out what I was, I refused to serve. So they locked me away. They said if I didn't obey, I'd rot in silence." Eli stepped closer. "You didn't become what they wanted. That doesn't make you a weapon. That makes you stronger." She shook her head. "But now they know I'm still alive. And worse, they know someone touched me and lived. That means their weapon is broken." Suddenly, the screen flashed again. Incoming ship. Marked as Bioclancer 07. Authorization. Level. Termination. Eli's eyes narrowed. "They're coming to erase you." "They don't want me talking," Zara said. "Or escaping. We won't let them." Zara turned, surprised. "You still want to help me? After everything I told you?" "I didn't fall for the story," Eli said. "I stayed for the girl, and I'm not leaving now." Zara's eyes shimmered. Then she walked to the back of the lab and opened a sealed box. Inside was a black suit sleek, marked with strange alien runes. "What is that?" Eli asked. "The only thing they left me," Zara replied. "It was supposed to be my battle skin. I never wore it. But now, maybe it's time I stop running." Eli nodded. "We fight together." She looked at him with soft eyes. "No, Eli, I don't want to fight because I'm a weapon. I want to fight because ... For the first time, I have someone worth fighting for." The black ship hovered like a silent predator above Station 9. It didn't broadcast warnings. It didn't ask for landing permission. It didn't need to. Inside that ship were three things: cold armor, sharper weapons, and hearts that had forgotten mercy. They were called purifiers, created by the same alien council that built Zara. The purifiers had one job: erase mistakes like her. Inside the forgotten lab below the station, Zara's fingers shook as she slid into the black suit. It hugged her body tightly, whispering with strange energy. The glowing runes blinked to life across her arms and chest. She looked into a cracked mirror. She didn't see a weapon. She didn't see a monster. She saw herself for the first time. Eli. stood beside her, adjusting a small energy rifle he had rebuilt from his wrecked ship. His hand brushed hers. "You okay?" Zara gave a small nod. "Not really, but I'm ready," he smiled. "Good enough." Suddenly, the entire station shook. "They've breached the outer wall," Eli said. "They're coming in fast." Zara closed her eyes for a moment. She remembered the cold voices, the metal tables, the pain. She opened them again with fire. No more hiding. They ran to the upper level. As they reached the main corridor, the ceiling burst open. 3 purifiers dropped down. Tall, silent, covered in silver armor. Their faces were blank. Their movements precise like machines. Zara stepped forward. The lead purifier raised his voice. "Subject 9A, you are classified as a failed prototype. You must be cleansed." Zara tilted her head. "Then why do I still feel more alive than any of you?" The second purifier pointed at Eli. "Human contact confirmed. He must be destroyed." Zara stepped in front of Eli. "You'll have to go through me first." The first shot fired. Zara moved faster than Eli had ever seen. The black suit amplified her reflexes. She twisted midair, avoiding the beam, then sent a shockwave through the floor with a single punch. The purifiers staggered. Eli took cover and fired, targeting joints and visors. One of his blasts cracked a helmet. Zara used the opening and struck. Her glove hit the exposed skin beneath the broken armor. For a moment, sparks exploded. The purifier dropped lifeless. One down, but the others were learning. They split apart. Circling her, Zara turned, eyes locked on them. "They built me to destroy. They trained me to kill. But they forgot the most dangerous part." She smiled faintly. "I learned to care." One purifier charged at Eli. Zara screamed and threw herself into the path, catching the attacker mid-air and slamming him into the wall. The metal bent under the force. The second purifier grabbed her from behind. Pain surged through her, but Eli jumped in, firing point blank at the machine's spine. Together, they brought him down. The hallway was silent again. Smoke filled the air. Zara leaned against the wall, panting. Her suit flickered. Eli checked her. "You okay?" She gave a weak nod. "They're stronger than I remember." "But not stronger than you," he said. Zara looked around at the broken armor, the shattered floor. "I never wanted to fight," she whispered. "I know," Eli replied gently. "But you did. Not because you're a weapon. Because you have a heart." A soft alarm beeped again. Zara looked at the screen. Another signal. Another ship, bigger, meaner. "They're not done," she said. Eli stood beside her. "Neither are we." And in that moment, standing in the ruins of a forgotten station, the untouchable girl and the crash-landed human stood shoulder to shoulder, not as victims, but as fighters. Together. Station 9 was falling apart. Smoke leaked through broken vents. Walls hissed where plasma shots had burned deep. The lights above flickered like dying stars. But Zara and Eli stood firm in the center of it all, surrounded by the wreckage of the first fight. Zara's black suit was torn at the shoulder, glowing softly as it tried to heal. Eli's face was scraped, his shirt soaked in sweat and blood. But their eyes burned not with fear, but with purpose. The second ship was closer now. Its engines hummed like thunder, rumbling through the floors. This wasn't a team of 3 anymore. This was a full strike squad. "They're bringing in an army this time," Eli said, checking his weapon. "They won't stop until I'm gone," Zara replied. "They think I'm still their mistake. Still a danger to control." Eli tightened his grip. "Then let's show them the biggest mistake they ever made was letting you live long enough to fight back." Zara looked at him. "You don't have to stay," she said quietly. "You could hide. Maybe escape in a pod. You didn't ask for this." Eli gave a tired grin. "No, but I found you. And I don't run from what's right." She looked away, her heart full of something she couldn't name. Then she turned back. Then we fight. Together. They moved quickly. They activated old station defenses, turrets, motion traps, even a collapsing hallway rigged with heat sensors. Eli wired drones from the lower lab to hover like metal bees. Armed with makeshift explosives, Zara pulled up blueprints and funneled all power to one location, the command bridge. That's where they'll land, she said. We meet them there, and we end this. The enemy ship pierced the sky like a steel fang. It hovered above the command bridge and opened its belly. Troops dropped like falling stars, dozens of armored purifiers, their footsteps shaking the floors. They carried shields, pulse rifles, stun nets. But Zara was ready. The first wave hit the turrets and drones. Explosions rocked the walls. Smoke and fire clouded the corridor. Zara leapt forward, a black flash in the chaos, moving faster than the eye could follow. She spun, kicked, punched. Her cursed energy shot through her gloves, sending shockwaves into armored chests. Eli backed her up, firing precise shots, shouting warnings. Left flank, duck, behind you. They fought like they were one. Zara caught a purifier mid-air, twisted his own rifle, and slammed him down with a scream. Eli rolled under a blast and launched a drone straight into the chest of the squad leader. Boom. One by one they fell. But it wasn't easy. Zara's suit flickered. Her energy was draining. She bled through the cracks. Eli took a hit to the shoulder and fell back. Groaning, Zara ran to him, shielding him with her body as two purifiers fired. Then, silence. Only smoke. Only the sound of two hearts still beating. They sat against the ruined wall, coughing and tired. Eli held his shoulder. I think. We won. Zara smiled faintly. You think? He nodded. They stopped shooting. That's a good sign. She leaned back. I didn't want to hurt anyone, Eli. I know. I only wanted to feel human. He turned to her. You are. She blinked. Even after all this destruction? He smiled gently. Humans destroy too, but they also protect, they forgive, they love. You did all three. Zara's hand reached for his. He took it, blood and all. They sat there, wounded but alive, the last two standing in a war neither of them asked for. And in that broken, burning station, among ash and sparks, something bloomed in the silence. Not just survival. Not just strength. Love. Real. Earned, unbreakable. The battle was over, but the silence that followed was heavier than war. Station 9 groaned under its own weight, smoke rising from broken panels and twisted walls. Fires still crackled in the corners, flickering like dying stars. The emergency systems were failing. Lights dimmed one by one, like a curtain falling after a final act, and in the middle of it all, sat Zara and Eli, side by side, broken but breathing. They had won, but at a cost. Zara stared down at her gloved hands. The gloves were torn now. Sparks blinked weakly across their surface. The suit had taken too many hits. The protective energy inside gone. Her curse might return. She didn't speak. She didn't move. She was afraid, not of death, not of being captured, but of hope. Eli coughed, wiped blood from his lip, and leaned back against the wall. His arm was burned, his shoulder bleeding, but his eyes still held warmth. Hey, he said softly. Still with me? Zara nodded slowly, but her voice was quiet. I think my suit failed. Eli glanced down at her gloves, then back at her eyes. It's okay, we're alive. That's what matters. No, she whispered. That's not what I mean. She lifted her hand and watched it flicker, the protective shield gone. I don't want to hurt you, she said. You won't, he said. You don't know that. I know you, that's enough. He reached out. She pulled away. Don't, not this time, please. Eli paused. Then, he gently placed his hand on his chest. Then touch me here, he said. Not with your hand, with your truth. Zara Looked at him. What do you feel? He asked. She blinked. Like I can't breathe, because I never wanted to care for someone. I never wanted someone to stay. Because staying means they could die. But I didn't, he said softly. You almost did, she said, her voice shaking. He leaned in close. And I'd do it again. Because you're not a curse, Zara. You're a survivor. A protector. You didn't choose this life, but you fought through it anyway. Zara's eyes filled with tears. I just wanted to be seen, she whispered. Just once. Eli reached up slowly, and this time without gloves, without shields, without protection, he touched her face. Zara gasped. There was no pain. No burning. Only warmth. Soft. Real. Shemin. She reached up, trembling, and touched his hand in return. No shield. No gloves. No barrier. Only skin to skin. Then still no fire. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I don't understand. You don't need to, he whispered. Maybe it's not a glitch. Maybe it's you. Maybe you chose not to burn me. Zara looked at him like he was the first sunrise she'd ever seen. And then that one touch, everything changed. She wasn't a weapon. She wasn't a curse. She was a girl. And someone loved her. Truly. Fully. For the first time. They lay in silence for a long time. Above them, the stars shone through a broken panel in the ceiling. Eli held her close, his heartbeat steady beneath her cheek. She whispered, I never thought I'd live long enough to feel this. He smiled faintly. That makes two of us. What now? She asked. Eli looked at the stars. Now, he said, we fix this place. We send a signal. We tell the galaxy you're alive and you're not what they said. Zara nodded. But first, Eli added, we rest. Together. She smiled. Her first real smile. And as the stars watched from above, the girl who was never touched finally found what she had been searching for all along. Not safety. Not escape. But something far more powerful. Love.